The other day, when I was contemplating the sad futility of human existence, it struck me how about 95% of our lives are spent doing things we don't actually want to. Going to work, doing the washing up, making polite conversation with people you're too cowardly to admit you hate. Normally, the only time I'm doing something I want is when I'm in my pants, in the dark, in the world of an amazing video game. Which makes it even more troubling when they ask us to do something we don't want to do. For example, killing these 7 bosses I didn't want to research. Let's start with Sif, the definitely not a cleaning product great grey wolf from Dark Souls. Killing this noble creature feels wrong on every level. Level 1, he's a dog, and I really like dogs. To ram home the fact you're mutilating such a lovely animal, From Software seem to have taken extra effort with the graphics on his fur. Look how soft and fluffy it is. And in a minute it's going to be matted with congealed dog blood, you awful, awful person. Level 2, he does that limping thing when he's nearly dead, and it's really upsetting. As if Dark Souls wasn't enough of a bastard anyway. At this point it's like some sneering demon bully sitting on your shoulder and whispering into your ear, "You want that ring of abyss walking, don't you? Well then kick the wounded animal, go on, kick it to death." And level 3, if you delve into Sif's backstory, you'll learn he's not only honouring the memory of his dead master, but also trying to stop you from making the same fatal mistake. He doesn't even want to fight you. Look at his sad eyes. Look how he's taking up that sword. Terrible. By contrast, our next entry doesn't inspire sympathy. He's not a nice man, in fact he's a lunatic psychopath, but for some reason witnessing the life seeping from his battered body was really quite sad. And the reason Joker's death at the end of Batman Arkham City made us blub guilty tears is an obvious one. He's just a brilliant villain. Thwarting his insane brand of clown crime was incredibly satisfying. You hated him and loved him all at once. And if we're honest with ourselves, we all know the Joker is the real star of the show. A bit like how Nathan is the boss of Access, but really we all know I'm the best one. Oh. Batman, presumably distraught with the knowledge Scarecrow is now going to have to be in the next game, carries Joker's limp corpse through a crowd of muted thugs and police in a scene thick with quiet reflection. "We're sorry, Joker, we didn't want to kill you, but the game made us do it." GLaDOS from Portal is our next entry, and it's ridiculous really when you think about it, getting all involved with a malevolent AI that spends most of its time trying to murder you. But then if Dave can sink himself emotionally into this blue tack snail mascot he's made for his desk, maybe feeling bad about killing a murderous robot isn't that strange after all. Especially when she plays the guilt trip card against you.
"Despite your violent behaviour, the only thing you've managed to break so far is my heart."
Oh, GLaDOS. That is how to kill me, not with ingenious puzzles or with deadly neurotoxin, but by being a well-written video game robot pretending to have a heart. It's this that made us feel a bit naughty about ripping her apart piece by piece while she called us silly names. GLaDOS is a wonderful character, ironically more human than the majority of video game personality fodder, and one of the main reasons the Portal series is so damn funny. Thankfully she doesn't stay dead, so you can all feel a little bit better about yourselves.
Shelley, no! No!
You know how sometimes you get stuff that sits in that rare window of badness where it actually becomes really good? You know, like Shark Attack movies with John Barrowman, Cheese Strings, or Wesker from Resident Evil. Wesker is rubbish really, isn't he? It's like Capcom designed his look by googling villain cliches you must avoid and wrote his dialogue by mashing together zombie-themed Christmas cracker jokes. What did the zombie say on his date? I like a woman with brains. He's been in Resident Evil so long, however, that by the time Resi 5 came around, you'd have sort of been disappointed if he wasn't there, and so when he turns up channeling Agent Smith, dodging bullets and confusing Chris the human bicep Redfield with his sunglasses, I, for one, was very happy. Then he does what all Resident Evil final bosses must do by law and injects himself with his own concoction before turning into a giant mutant. Which eventually leads to him being dumped in a volcano and shot twice in the head with a pair of rocket launchers.
Suck on this, Wesker.
Normally I'd cheer this, but for some reason seeing the corny old bugger reduced to molten scraps left me feeling a little deflated. I mean, imagine what Resident Evil would be like without Albert Wesker. Well, it would be Resident Evil 6. Did you know that if you take the word selfish and jumble the letters around and then add a few more, it spells out stupid boy who rides around a mythical land on a horse killing innocent creatures just so he can bring his dead girlfriend back to life? Well, it does. I mean, what were we thinking when we played Shadow of the Colossus? Are we just all going to listen to that weird disembodied voice and murder 16 majestic creatures? Well, 15, the little one's a dick. Every time I plunged that sword into the weak spot of a Colossus, I felt like a monumental scumbag. Look at their terrified eyes, the way they're frantically shaking their heads to rid themselves of what to them must be like an irritating murder flea. Imagine what they'd be saying if they could talk.
Please, I've not done anything to you. I'm just like a big cow, a big rock cow. You wouldn't kill a cow, would you? I've got baby rock cows to feed. Please, just let me go.
No, sword in. And big terrified rock cow is added to the pile of Colossus corpses. Are you happy now? No. None of us were happy. It was a similar situation in the original BioShock when we were forced to kill big daddies. I say forced, it was more actively encouraged, as technically you could go through the game leaving most of them to clomp around holding hands with small girls. But, and here's the thing, those little girls equal points, and if I can get some points in a video game, I will literally do anything to anything. It's like the loot lust just descends and all I see are shapes made of polygons, their only purpose to be shot, burned and mutilated just so I can upgrade myself so I'm better at shooting, burning and mutilating other things. BioShock knows we want the Atom, and I felt like an A1 degenerate for doing this, but I killed those big daddies and then harvested the little sisters too, for points. Give me points. The last entry on our list might just be the hardest thing I've done in any game, and I'm not talking about physical dexterous challenge, I'm talking about emotional wallop. It's just one button press, one tiny button press, one haunting, harrowing button press.
There's only room for one boss and one snake.
Look, even the flowers are sad. Putting one final bullet into the boss at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3, especially after learning the true tragedy of her story, had me in bits. The game simply freezes until you've pulled the trigger, and I remember leaving it for ages, not wanting to end it. What a game, what a horrible act. I better do something I actually want to do now, just to calm myself down a little bit. Ah, that's better. I hope you've enjoyed this week's video. Please hit the like button if you did. Don't forget to subscribe for more like this every Friday afternoon, and let us know in the comments if there are any bosses I haven't listed that you found particularly hard to kill. Thanks for watching.